Happy Tuesday! It's time for Stories with Sarah Lizabeth. I've been introducing y'all to my team, whom I adore and love, and I'm excited to continue to do that next week. But this week, the holiday kind of threw everybody's schedule off, and most of them weren't available during the time that I normally film this for you. So you just have me today. So I hope you're okay with just me and me sharing a story with you and getting back to sharing some wedding stories. This one's a little tragic, but it'll be okay. But anyways, the holiday weekend. I hope y'all had a great weekend. I hope you were around people that you care for and love, and just had a wonderful, relaxing, extended weekend. And thank you so much for asking me about mine. That is so kind. I had a great weekend, thank you. It was, it was one of those that I didn't have anything planned, and so last minute I just decided to fly out to New York City, see a few shows. I wanted to do that for my birthday and never got around to it, so this was good. I got to see Dear Evan Hansen. The first time I saw it, y'all, it was a bad time in my life. And so let's just address the fact that I was in the theater the first time, but I actually probably didn't really see it because I was crying hysterically the entire time. I mean, it was a hot mess. And, it was just one of those that I've never had a live theater experience like that where a show has impacted my life so much. And so I was excited to go back and see it again where I am in my life now, and just to see and compare, what my thoughts and feelings were about that show. And so I sat there most of the time, and several times I was like, just kind of like a different perspective, a different feeling towards the show. And for those that have seen it, this time around I actually got to see the beauty in the orchard. Last time I couldn't see that. It was just a holy hot mess, and I was as well. So I was excited to go back and kind of redeem my experience there in that theater. And I also got to see Waitress. Waitress was a surprise to me. I had no idea how much I would relate to it. And it was an amazing show, great cast, wonderful show. And there's a song in that show called She Used to Be Mine. And it is currently Sarah's new theme song that gets played, I don't know. Let's just say a handful of times a day. And that's a lie, y'all, because it gets played like 100 times a day. So, but it's an amazing song that I was able to connect with and really love and see the beauty in that as well. So it was a great weekend, and I'm excited to have those times where we can just kind of refresh and renew, especially in a crazy event world that I live in, to just take some time off, which is so rare. So that was good. But today I'm going to share with you a story. Like I said, I love my team, as y'all know, but sometimes team members don't do good things. Sometimes they make mistakes, and sometimes they act a fool. And so this is a story of one team member that did something that he should not have done. And so I'm gonna share with you what he did. Recently, I was at one of my very favorite venues doing an all-inclusive wedding, which is where we essentially come in and bring everything under the Regalo name. And so it was gonna be an awesome day. And it was an awesome day, except for the fact that it rained. And y'all know how that goes. I mean, right before the wedding, we, it's like the day was questionable if it was going to rain or if it wasn't going to rain. Then all of a sudden at 5:30, when the guests are arriving and we have everything set up, the rain comes in. And I mean, it was like monsoon raining, just cats and dogs, which would be actually kind of funny to see, raining cats and dogs. But it was a lot. It was a lot of rain. And so, I go up to the bride, and of course, she's upset because, we've had this perfect experience, perfect weekend. Everything's been great up until that point. And then the guests arrive and the rain comes in, and it was just wet. It was just a mess. So I see her, and of course this means that we have to kind of you know, we have to adjust the day. We have to adjust pictures, we have to adjust the reception, because now everything is gonna be delayed. And so that means and the reception was gonna end early anyway. So now that means everything's gonna be kind of rush. And that's, you know, nobody wants that. So, you know, there was a lot to that when rain comes in. So I hate rain. I hate you, rain. Don't ever come back to a Regalo Design wedding. It's awful. And so, you know, I go up and see her and I'm like, yeah, this really stinks, but guess what? It's gonna be over in 20 minutes. And I can promise you that my staff will go out there and we will dry off, you know, the seats. We will hustle with that. We'll get all the guests to where they need to be. We'll get you down there, and we really will only be probably 20 minutes behind. And we'll make that up. I will make that up somehow to you. And so I just kind of let her have a moment, because, you know, when it rains on your wedding day, like the person that said rain is good luck, they did not have rain on their wedding day. That's not nice, y'all. So yeah, nobody wants it on their wedding day. And so we were able to sort of, you know, dry off the seats. The rain passed. We dried off all the seats. We got the guests. We already told the guests, hey, when we tell y'all to go to the ceremony, like, we mean go. Like, don't just stand around and mingle and talk. And so they were all super helpful, got to the ceremony quickly. We got everybody down the aisle, had a great ceremony. We were off to the reception. Well, during the ceremony, I just happened to walk over to the band, and just to make sure, hey, everything's okay. We're on, you know, we're running a little bit behind. I mean, their gear was right up next to the tent, so I was kind of checking to make sure their gear was okay, you know, that everyone was all right. And they're all standing there looking at the tent, like they're looking up at the tent, like, and I go, is there a problem? Like, why are we looking at the tent like that? And y'all know I've had some experiences with tents. I've had one that's gone up on a roof, which was changed my life forever. And so I'm like, this is not good, y'all. I walk in and they're looking up at the tent. And I see something, but I really have no idea what I'm looking at. I'm just like, what is that? And honest to goodness, it was about 100 pounds of water that had just settled. You know, when the guys were putting up the tent, they had a little bit of a difficulty with this one piece. And it all goes on these, you know, the tent goes in on these like tracks and everything, and they have to, you know, there's 12 guys pulling the tent up over the frame. And they had an issue with this one. This one was their little problem child. So obviously there was an issue with the drainage, and all of the rain that had just fallen on us, essentially, instead of running off the tent, just kind of soaked into the tent. So there was like this big bubble of water. And I'm not kidding you, I'm a strong girl. Like, I'm up on ladders, I'm moving stuff around, I carry a lot of stuff. I tried to push that water off the tent, and I couldn't do it. It was like a human. It was a lot of water. So I yelled at my staff, go grab the ladder real quick. I'm like as fast as you can possibly run, and run with a ladder safely, like, get back here, because I've got to climb up here and try and push this water off. So I get the ladder out and climb up on the ladder, and I'm trying to push the water off the tent, because I forgot to tell you that the water is right over the bride and groom's chairs, like at their dinner table. It could go anywhere in that tent, but it was right over their chairs. So they are doing their vows at the time, and we are, I don't know, we're probably 100 feet, maybe 150 feet from them. And you know, I'm trying to push this up. We're trying to be quiet. I'm talking with my team, like, hey, come on, we gotta go. Like the guests are gonna be here any second. I gotta get this water off this tent. And then I thought about possibly like puncturing it and letting it drain out. And then I thought, no, because that's a lot of water that's gonna go through like a pinhole. But I didn't really have anyone to ask, because, you know, the tent guys weren't there and the rental company wasn't there at that time. So I was just like, I gotta make do. So I start trying to push the water off of the tent. And the band comes up, and you know, they were helping me, and my team was helping me, and some of the guys got up and kind of, you know, helped me push that water off the tent. And of course it was like right during the vows. It was like pouring off of the tent during the vows, and like the guests were like, you know, like they were doing one of those, like, what's going on over there? And I was like, oh, it's okay, it's cool. We're just, you know, we're just pushing 100 pounds off the tent, you know, like of water, and it's okay. We're gonna save them from getting wet at the reception. Cause can y'all imagine if that tent would have busted on them? That would have been epic. That would have been epic. So anyways, we got the water off the tent, great reception. Didn't rain on us the rest of the day. And so it was the end of the night, and you know, everything was so rush anyways, because we lost a lot of time with the rain. And so, you know, I was trying to make sure client was happy, and we were trying to get them out and doing the streamers. And I knew the rental company was like sitting in the parking lot. So I saw them pull up, and I said, hey, you know, I pushed it like 15 minutes. So we'll get them out as soon as possible and everything was great. So we started the teardown process, which is basically just, you know, it's just the vendors that are there, and there's I don't know, 30 of us between all the people that are there tearing down everything. So everything comes in day of, everything goes out day of, from start to finish. So it's an interesting time in the evening. So the clients were off to their forever. They were happy. They had a great day despite the rain. And I'm there with our vendors, and you know, it's a time where I kind of talk with some of them about some things that maybe happened during the day, and just kind of, you know, make sure everybody's on the same page of ways that we can improve and ways that we can just be better. And so, you know, we were at that time of the night, and I was carting something out like on a cart. And so the way that the venue is, there's really not a good, you know, you can't go on the grass, you can't ruin the grass. That's one of their rules. And there's not really a straight way to this paver section at that venue. So you kind of have to, you know, have the carts over on the sidewalk, and then walk through some grass to where the pavers and tents are, and then kind of move everything over. So it's a little bit challenging to get in and out. Not too bad, but so but everybody, you know, when it's over, everybody just goes. They're trying to get out. We have a time frame that we need to get out. So everybody just does their job and just, you know, gets out. So I'm carting stuff out from the tent, and I'm trying to get it to my van and to my crew. And so I am going down this path. I've got this cart, and I'm going through, and one of the band members had backed up pretty close to the venue, and was sitting next to the caterer's truck. And so I'm going through with the cart, and the way that he was parked, if he had been just a smidge either back or over, I mean like an inch, I could have gotten the cart through. So the caterers were breaking down. They were not at their vehicle. The band guy was at his vehicle. And so I asked him, hey, would you mind moving back just a smidge so I could get this cart through? And his immediate response was, well, if the caterer knew how to park their truck, then you would be able to get through. And I was like, okay, okay, sure. Or if you had just been a smidge back, I could get through. I said, the caterer's not here. They're breaking down stuff. You're here. Would you please mind just backing up a smidge so I could get this cart through? And he said, I'll do it in a minute. And I said, come again? Like, what do you mean you'll do it in a minute? Like, I'm asking you to do it now so I can get through. And he says, well, I've got a lot of stuff to tear down. Okay, well, I am a very calm, you know, person, but it is not okay. First of all, how this man was speaking to me, okay, it was extremely disrespectful. Second of all, he says some comment like, well, I'm trying to tear down. And I wanted to look at him and say, do you know what it took for me to get to this point right here? It took, let's see here. Let's start with Wednesday when the flowers got here, and I had to prep the flowers. And Wednesday night until 3 in the morning where I was pulling the inventory and loading my van. And then there was Thursday. I produced all the flowers, all of those on Thursday, all day until 2 or 3 in the morning. Oh, and then there's Friday. I was here when the tent guys were setting up the tent, and we were getting the tent set up. And then I had to go and, go back and get more inventory and bring it over here and store it in the storage closet or in the storage barn. And then, you know what? I had to do a rehearsal. That was Friday. And then after the rehearsal, you know what I did? You see all that draping and lighting up there on that tent? I did that. And I was here in the middle of a thunderstorm, and I was getting electrocuted by the lights that I was putting up because it was raining while I was trying to run, 100-foot extension cords, maybe like 10 of them, and going to different, spreading the power out on the property to make sure all the lights were staying on and everything was good, and up on a metal ladder in the middle of a thunderstorm. And I did that until, at least 3. And then I went home and, I had to be in my truck by 7 to get to the venue, to load up all the flowers and to load up all the inventory and get to the venue and get out of the car and run, set up the entire, meet the rental company, set up all the flowers, set up all the linens and the china and the flowers and decor, and make sure the client was happy and attend to them. Oh, and then there was like this thunderstorm that came through, this big storm. So I had to, move 200 guests, and I had to, do all these things. And I had to run the event. I ran the whole event, and then I have to tear down. And you know what? I know what it's like to want to have to get out of here. I understand that, sir, and now, I didn't say this to him because I'm a professional, but inside my head I was like, you have no idea what I have to do to get out of here, and I'm gonna be the last one to leave. I'm leaving with the rental company. They're next to me, they're the last ones to leave too, sir. And you know what they're gonna do tonight? They're gonna go back to the warehouse. They're gonna unload all the stuff that they have in their truck, and they're gonna reload it with another stage that they're gonna take over to another facility, and they're gonna set that up at like 5 in the morning. So yeah, I understand that everyone wants to get out of here, but if you would just move your vehicle back a smidge, I could get through and we could keep going. And so he decides that he is not okay with me asking him, and not okay with the fact that I said, are you serious? Like, come on, dude, please, just get in your car, move it back a minute, and we can all be done with this and move on with our lives. So that's when the real magic happened. And he starts throwing a fit on me, y'all. And when I say a fit, it was one of those that, he was in my face, screaming at me, telling me, that all the things that he wanted to tell me in my face. And what he didn't realize was that I gave it right back to him. And he wasn't prepared for that. I mean, he was, telling me all these things like that he wanted to get off of his chest about me and tell me things. And you can ask my team, I'm a nice person. And now if I have to handle a situation, I will handle a situation. And so he was a little bit, taken aback that I actually stood up for myself. I mean, what a concept to not have a man yelling and screaming in your face. Not okay. So he, after I kind of addressed it with him, he got in his car, flung it in reverse, had some gear behind his car. I'm sure he was messing all that up because he was acting a fool. Reverses the car, gets out, and he's like, are you happy? And I was like, you have officially, you will never be invited back to a Regalo Design wedding, sir. Never again. Thank you. Thank you for the last 10 years, but this is not okay. How you're treating me and how you're acting. And you know what the worst part about this? It wasn't that this guy treated me this way. It was the fact that the other band members were standing there watching this all go down. Not one of them said, hey bro, let it go. Just back it up a little bit. This is Sarah, who hired us, who literally hired us and has hired us for a lot of events. This is Sarah. She's not out to get you. She's not, she's just trying to make sure that everybody can get home, and you are parked in the middle of the driveway, and it's not the caterer's fault that they didn't back up appropriately to your standards. Just move. So then after he gets done, throwing a hissy fit, and I move on, and I look at the band members like, shame. Like, really? Like, y'all didn't, no one was gonna stand there and go, hey, like, stop yelling at Sarah, okay? No, they just let him yell at me, and I yelled back at him. And then, I went on my way, and he went on his way. And so then, he gets in the car, he's like going through the grass, he's throwing a fit, and this is a property that it is a rule. You do not go on the grass. You shouldn't go on the grass anyways at any property unless they say it's okay, right? But this one in particular, they're very, that's a rule of theirs. So I went back, I had to go back the next day and check on the grass situation and make sure that, it was okay and everything was, checked out and all right, because ultimately, it's not the client's fault that this guy lost his marbles, and, they shouldn't be, penalized for that. And so if there was going to be a charge for this, this was something that this gentleman personally would have had to have handled for us, because he just threw a fit. And so, those kind of things happen, and they don't, thank goodness gracious, they don't happen very often. But, it just was unfortunate that something like that happened from one of my team members at a Regalo Design wedding. So this happened a few weeks ago, and, I have thought a lot about this. And, in the moment, I said, you're never welcome back at a Regalo Design wedding. It's not okay what you did. And there have been some situations fairly recently with other vendors too that I'm just like, I've been with y'all for years, and to be treated in a way where I am consistently building y'all up and supporting you and referring you for nothing in return other than taking care of our clients, like, it's not okay to treat people like that in general, but it's not okay to do that. And so I was really disappointed, and in the moment I was saying, you're never going to work another Regalo Design wedding. Like, that doesn't exist at Regalo Design. We all work together for the client and make it the best day ever for them. And we do whatever it takes. We climb up on ladders and push 100-pound water off of tents. We do whatever it takes. We bust tables, making sure that everything is ready to go. And so I've kind of like marinated in that a little bit, because I was so quick to say, you're never allowed on one of my job sites again. But then I've thought a lot about that, and I've thought, what happened was we've addressed the situation, we've discussed the situation, and that it will never happen again. And just my disappointment in the fact that it did happen, and other, when things like that happen, it's like conflict management. Like, I do address that with vendors and say, hey, it's not okay. It's not okay what you did. It's not okay how you treated me. And, but the moral of this story, and why I wanted to share this with you, is because you just never know what someone's going through in life. You just don't know. And, if you're, someone's cut you off and they're yelling at you, on the road, or, something happens where somebody's just acting a fool, their weight that they're carrying is so heavy that that's the only way that they know how to respond to things and how they know how to, exist in life. And I believe that our job as human beings and people who should display love, not in a, just everything's positive all the time kind of way, but just in a human being respect and love for other human beings, that sometimes you got to give a little grace, and you got to say, you know what? That guy right there, he's going through something, and I believe that my job is to give him a little grace. And so we've addressed the situation and the fact that it will never happen again. But that's just important in life, to be able to see that everybody's carrying weights that are usually invisible until, you know, something explodes or something happens and they let it all out. And it's in those moments where you just need to extend grace to them and say, you know what? It's not okay how you acted, but, you know, it's not okay what you did. But, you know, we are able to address it, acknowledge it, and move past it. And so I think that you're a better person for that if you're able to do that. And so, yeah, I was quick to say, never again will you work under Regalo Design. But after kind of, you know, thinking about that some, you know, I just want to give him a second chance and to say, hey, you know, apology accepted. Thank you for doing that. And we will move forward from this and continue to produce amazing events in the future. Thanks again for joining me this week. I look forward to introducing you to another team member next week when we're back on a regular schedule. I appreciate y'all putting up with it just being me today. So anyways, like I say every time, and what some of our vendors are learning, so until I see y'all again or you see me again, have a great week.